Do you want to get better at speaking in English? In this video, we'll do some fun, interactive conversation practice together. This is a great way to speak out loud and feel more confident speaking English. So here is how the video will work. First, I will give you a conversation prompt or question, and you will pause the video and answer the question as if you were having a real conversation with me. Next, I will respond and give my own answer to the speaking prompt. Then, I will show you some useful words and phrases that I used in my answer and explain how you can use them in your own response. Finally, you will give your response one more time, but this time you will improve it by using the phrases that I provide. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Prompt number 1. Talk about a skill you would like to learn and why. Pause the video now, give your response, and once you've finished, you can continue with the video. Okay, now it is my turn to answer the same prompt. Well, I think that first aid would be a really useful skill to have. It would help me to feel more confident in different situations where someone has been injured or hurt in some way. If I had the skills and knowledge to know exactly what to do and what actions to take. So the types of things I would like to know about is how to treat wounds, maybe the exact steps to take if someone is having a seizure or even a heart attack, knowing how to properly perform CPR. Those kinds of basic first aid skills I think would be so useful. If I knew how to perform first aid, I would definitely try to use these skills to help people wherever I could. So that was my response to the question. Now let's look at some useful phrases that I used in my answer. I think would be a useful skill to have. So in here, you can insert whatever skill you're thinking of. And in my response, I said, I think first aid would be a good skill to have. But some other examples could be, I think playing an instrument would be a good skill to have, or I think speaking another language. And notice there I use the ing form. I think playing an instrument, speaking a language, knowing first aid, I could say, would be a useful skill to have. It would help me too. We're using the infinitive form here. For example, it would help me to feel more confident. It would help me to communicate at work. It would help me to relax in my free time. If I knew how to, I would. Here we're using a second conditional. If I knew, we're talking about a hypothetical situation. For example, if I knew how to perform first aid, I would try to help people. If I knew how to play piano, I would play it every day. If I knew how to speak German, I would go to Germany. So now it's your chance to give your response again, and this time try to use some of those phrases to improve your answer and be more fluent. So here you go a second time. Talk about a skill you would like to learn and why. Well done. Now moving on to prompt number 2. Talk about a hobby or activity that helps you relax. Pause the video and give your answer. Well done. Now it's my turn to give my answer to the question. Okay, so reading helps me relax. It's something that I try to do every day. It helps me relax because it sort of transports me to a different world. While I'm reading, I'm focusing on the story and I get very engaged with what's going on in the book. And in that way, it helps me to forget about the stresses of the day and just be present. It makes me feel very content, very relaxed. I usually like to sit on the sofa. If it's cold, I get under a blanket. And this is an especially relaxing activity if it's raining outside because you feel really cozy. So yes, reading is an activity that helps me to relax. So now let's look at some useful phrases that I used in my response. ... helps me relax. And in this structure, we're going to use the ing form. Reading helps me relax. Doing exercise helps me relax. Cooking helps me relax. So make sure in your response you use that ing form. Or you could simply say the name of the activity. Yoga helps me relax. It's relaxing because. So here I gave my reason why it was an activity that I find relaxing. It makes me feel, and here you need an adjective. It makes me feel happy, it makes me feel content, it makes me feel relaxed. So now it's your turn to try again and give another response to that answer, and here are your useful phrases to use. If you're enjoying this video and finding these speaking exercises useful, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you can be notified every time I release a new video. Now let's move on with prompt number 3. Describe your ideal job. Pause the video and give your response. Well done, now it's my turn. My ideal job would be something where I'm working outside. I don't really know exactly what the job would be, but I really enjoy being outside, being in nature, and so for that reason, I think that if I could find a job where I was outside all day long, that would be perfect for me. I think I would enjoy this because generally I'm at my happiest when I am spending time outside. I also really love animals, so maybe this dream job would be something that involves being outside and spending time with animals. Perhaps something like a dog trainer. I love dogs, they're my favorite animal. So I think I would really enjoy this job, being a dog trainer, because I would have the chance to spend time with my favorite animal and be outside all day long. Okay, now let's look at some useful phrases that I used. My ideal job would be. So hypothetical here, we're using would be, and then say the name or the type of job. I really enjoy, for this we're using the ing form. I really enjoy being outside. I really enjoy spending time with animals. I think I would enjoy this because. So give your reasons why this is the dream job for you. Now you've got those useful phrases, have another go at giving your response and improving it. Well done, I hope you felt more fluent that time. Now let's move on to prompt number 4. What are the main advantages of travelling? Pause and answer. Well done, now it's my turn. Okay, firstly, I think travelling helps you to relax because it forces you to get out of your daily routine, and quite often I find that you forget about your normal everyday worries and stresses. You're in a different place, so yeah, it can help you to just immediately feel more relaxed. Another advantage is that you get to try different food. This is one of my favourite things about travelling. Usually when you go to a new place, there's some kind of local dish that you can try, and that is something that I think is a huge advantage because you might not have the chance to try that food in your normal everyday life. But I think the best thing about traveling is the opportunity to have unexpected experiences. Every time I travel to a new place, something interesting and unexpected always happens, whether that's discovering a new place that you didn't know about, meeting someone that you never expected to meet, or even trying the most delicious food of your whole life. So yes, for me, traveling has many advantages, but those are just a few. Okay, let's look at some useful phrases that I used. Firstly, traveling helps you to. We're using the infinitive form here. Traveling helps you to relax. Traveling helps you to discover new places. Another advantage is, so adding more information, more ideas. The best thing about traveling is, so leave the best thing till last. What do you think is the biggest advantage? The best thing about traveling for you? Now use those phrases and give your response one more time. Well done. Now we are moving on to our 5th and final prompt. If you could change one thing about your country, what would it be? Pause and answer. Now it's my turn. Now I'm originally from the UK, and if I could, I would change the weather. The reason I would change this is because the weather in the UK can be so unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get. It could be raining, it could be cold, it could be warm, and it's very difficult to make plans for each month of the season because you just can't guarantee what type of weather you will have. Now, don't get me wrong, we do have some beautiful weather, especially in the summer. The days are long when the sun is shining. There's nowhere better to be than in the UK. But the thing I would change is just to make it a bit more predictable. So to have longer summers and guaranteed sunshine every day would be perfect. I would make the winters a little bit shorter and maybe a little bit less cold with a bit less rain. I think the impact of this change would be that people get to spend more time outdoors enjoying themselves. Now, you'll notice in my answer, I talked about something that it just is not possible to change, but this was a hypothetical question. If you could change one thing about your country, what would it be? We're using a second conditional here, so it doesn't have to be a real possibility. All of my answer was hypothetical. If I could, I would change the weather. The reason I would change this is, so giving the reason behind my decision, the impact of this change would be, again, we're using would because this is hypothetical. It's not really going to happen. So now have a go at answering that same question, and here are your useful phrases. Well done! If you made it this far in the video, you've just done some really valuable speaking practice. If you'd like to continue the journey with more speaking practice, I recommend that you watch this video next.